Welcome to IBK's review on the Galaxy S22. Let's go. Now I'm gonna do this review a little bit different. I'm gonna start from the back, meaning I'm gonna be as real as possible because I bought this phone with my own money. I've been using it for a few days and I have a lot of things to say about it, and it's gonna be all honest. But first of all, I appreciate the aesthetics of this phone. Like, the backside is perfect for me. I like black, stealthy looking phones, and the way that they used the Victus Plus Gorilla Glass this year with a matte finish looks superb. Like, it just feels good. It doesn't leave a lot of fingerprints. It looks clean, and you almost don't want to put a case on it, but of course I have to, or else I'm gonna drop it and I don't want to scratch this guy. So it's a shame that we have to put a case on this phone. The back looks really good, as you can see right here. And even the camera, last year's S21, it was plastic and it created a lot of scratches for me. I did not like how it looks currently, but here I don't think this is gonna scratch, especially with the new Victus Plus glass. It should be more scratch resistant than plastic. So I'm glad they went with the style. It doesn't make it heavier. It's actually lighter than last year's phone, which is a plus. All right. Now let's go ahead and talk about something else that I really like when it comes to the physical aspects of this phone. Let's go back to the front. Let's go ahead and flip this phone over, and let me just tell you what I love about the front of this device. Can you guess? It's finally symmetrical. Like, the bezels are 100% even all around. Not a lot of Android phones do this. Actually, Google Pixel 5 surprised me last year when they did this, but it wasn't the full package. Like, this is the full package, first time that it's finally symmetrical, and I gotta say, it's refreshing, it feels good to look at, and it looks good. And I think a lot of people are pleased with it. Like, they say this is a beautiful phone. The S22 Plus and the S22, they're selling very well. And I don't know if it's just because of symmetry, but it's better than having a chin or forehead or a notch, right? So look at it. It just looks clean. I love how this looks. I'm glad Samsung decided finally in 2022 to bring this. Thank you. Now if we go ahead and pick this phone up, it's very light. Like I said, it's lighter than last year, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, the battery is lighter too. Instead of 4,000 milliamp, it's 3,700, which is unfortunate, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you more about that later. But overall, the phone is nicer to hold. It's lighter, and if you use your phone a lot, that's a good thing. One thing is it's flat. This was present in the S21, and a lot of people love this style. It looks elegant, looks good. Same USB-C. The sides for the S21 and the S22 didn't change too much. But one thing is, the side on the bottom part is sharp. So when you hold it for a long time, it does feel sharp. So I'm glad I'm using a case for it. About, I'd say 70 to 80% people are going to use a case. They're not going to notice it. But if you're just carrying this phone around naked, it does feel a little sharp in the bottom edge. Something for you to know. Now let's talk briefly about using this phone. This has the Snapdragon Gen 1 chip, meaning that it's the fastest chip right now, and everything is smooth. Pair that up with the 120 Hz screen. It scrolls good, it's fast, everything is zippy. And about the 120 Hz screen, it doesn't go to 10 Hz like the LTPO screen. It just goes to 48 Hz. I know there was some confusion there, but let's just make it official. It does not go to 10 Hz or 1 Hz. It just goes to 48. And to be honest with you, that probably is a hit on the battery. But as far as scrolling, the 120 Hz is fantastic. And once you go 120, it's hard to go back to 60. That's just something you have to feel, you have to see, use, or else you don't get it, right? You think 60 is fine until you use 120. Like, there's an option to go back, but I can't seem to go back afterwards. The screen is also super bright. Like, this is a bright room right now, and as you can see, there's no problem seeing this screen. It gets super bright. As a matter of fact, it hasn't been brighter than this. So if you're using this phone outside, inside, don't worry. It gets super dim also. Like, it's great. The S21 was a little bit bright for my taste at night. This doesn't have that problem. It even has an extra dim option in the quick toggle. So if you want to use this in a dark room before you go to bed, it's perfect. If you want to use this outside, it's perfect. You're not going to have an issue. So enjoy this phone everywhere as far as the screen goes. Now let's just take a moment to once again enjoy the symmetry of this phone. I think it deserves to be shown. I loved it. Another thing is this phone doesn't have UWB, so ultra wideband is missing. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Wi-Fi 6E. So when you have a keychain that uses ultra wideband, it's going to be a miss. And this, to be honest, is a little bit disappointing. I wish the S22 had all the features like the S22 Plus has, but they omitted it. And I bet they did it so that they can make sales next year. Just a guess. But again, who has Wi-Fi 6E routers at home, right? Again, this is super fast, even with Wi-Fi 6. As you can see here, this is currently connected to Wi-Fi 6. Everything loads fast, everything scrolls fast, everything refreshes fast. If you want to know, go look at my speed test. It does better than the S21 in many things. Like, things just load and scroll really nice. The sound on this is very good. For example, this thing. But here's when I get honest. I liked the S21 sound much better. Here, it's a little bit more canned sound, like the treble is really high. Some people will say it starts crackling. I don't know, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I understand, like, there was more bass on the S21. One good thing that S22 has is the messenger. Like, the messages is using Google, and I love this adaptation of it. I'm glad that Samsung sometimes doesn't stick stubbornly to their ideas when it comes to apps and just uses Google stuff, because Google does make good apps in certain areas, and Messenger is one of them. Now here's another honest part that I don't see really people talking about. But if you go to this phone's settings and you go to About Phone, there's something really important you have to do if you get this phone. You have to do a software update. And I'm not talking about the main security update, I'm talking about the Google Play System update. A lot of people missed this. But when I checked this, it was already like 3 versions back, and I had to download and install 3 times. So get this update on your phone, help your parents, help your friends, but after you do it, wipe their cache partition and their reboot. I'm sure you guys know how to do this. Google it if you don't. Okay, now let's jump back to the review and talk about the camera. It has a 50 megapixel sensor this time. It does binning and just creates impressive bright pictures. If you're shooting in the daytime, whether it's 3x zoom or if you do ultra wide, it's gonna look fantastic. I really loved using all 3 modes. The ultra wide looks good, the 3x zoom looks good, and the bright pictures are going to look fantastic in any daytime. And you're gonna see that it's fun to take whether you do the zoom in, and you know, if you're coming from an older phone especially, you're gonna notice a huge improvement. Even from the S21, I enjoyed it a little bit more, especially the night photos, which we'll show you soon. But I just had fun with this camera. For instance, I'm here at Grand Central and I'm looking at the ceiling, and great, yeah, I can see everything, but everything's so far, right? No problem. I just do the 3x zoom and look how close we can get. And you can really see the details, the scuff marks, the light, the color, and I think you can have a lot of fun with this 3x zoom. It's not quite 10x like the S22 Ultra, but still it's really good for a phone this size. Now here's another real honest review right here. If you look at these photos, you're automatically going to assume, yeah, these are S22 photos, right? No, these are all S21 photos. And what I'm trying to say is, the S21 in a bright lit condition took amazing photos as is. Like, it was already good. So why would you need to have the S22, you might ask, right? I think it really comes down to night photos. Like, I took really dark, pitch black night photos and I just saw better color reproductions on those photos. And if that matters to you, Like if brightness of those night shots, better color accuracy, slight improvement in sharpness, if these things matter to you, then the S22 camera is a win. And here I'm really focusing on the night mode. Just look at the color reproduction, very nice. And this really sparkles at night. Like this camera is better than the S21 at night. Daytime pictures not so much, but in the night I love how it's brighter. So one thing that I do want to say honestly is that you can make this phone feel faster by going on to developer options and making the animations halfway. That makes everything more breezy. But if you're coming from the S21, it's not going to feel that much of a difference. The apps load faster, the games are much faster, but in the day-to-day activity, you are not going to find that much difference. The biggest thing I'd say is the camera. I love taking pictures with this. Everything was brighter. The 3x zoom worked great. And there's just so many options, especially with the Camera Raw app that you can download now for the S22. There's so many options for people who love taking pictures, especially with the smaller form factor of the S22. And that is the main reason why I would get this camera. The battery life on this phone is not as good as the S21. Just remember that it's a smaller battery, and so if you take a lot of pictures or you go outside or use it a lot, it's definitely not going to last as long as the S21, which is disappointing in my opinion. Other than that, it's a great phone. Especially if you're coming from an older phone, you're gonna love using this phone. Everything is gonna open fast, it's gonna be snappy, and scrolling is gonna be smooth with 120 hertz, and I really enjoyed using this phone, and I think you will too. And just again, it looks great. It's a fantastic speedy phone, and besides the things that I talked about, there's no cons about this phone. I think you guys will love it. So tell me what you think about this phone in the comments below. If you love this review, I've been as honest as I can. I'll definitely churn out more reviews if I find out anything. Please comment below and we can discuss about this phone. Again, please subscribe if you haven't, and thank you always for watching. I try to be as real as possible, especially since I buy all these with my money. I really use this day to day, so it's something that I feel passionate about. Okay guys, have a good one, and I'll talk to you in the next review.